Your dog barks at a closed door. You think it's nonsense, an annoying habit with no meaning. But that seemingly silly bark is actually the echo of 40,000 years of a partnership that shaped the history of humanity. Imagine you're alone at home late at night. The silence is absolute, broken only by the occasional creak of the house. Suddenly, your dog, who was sleeping curled up in the corner, lifts his head with a sharp movement. He turns his ears toward the door, tenses the muscles in his back, and lets out a low, guttural growl. You didn't hear anything. Your human ears pick up only the emptiness. But he heard something. In that instant, something fascinating happens inside you. Your heart races, adrenaline floods your bloodstream, the hair on your arm stands up. You freeze. Without thinking, your body trusted his alarm more than your own senses. This is no coincidence. It's the echo of a survival partnership that began long before the invention of writing, agriculture, or civilization itself. Why exactly do dogs do this? Why does an animal that today sleeps 18 hours a day on a soft carpet, eats processed kibble, and wags its tail at strangers still carry such a finely tuned biological alarm system? The answer lies buried in the deepest layers of the canine brain, and what it reveals about ourselves is far stranger than you imagine. To understand how this connection became so powerful, you need to go back about 40,000 years. Groups of nomadic humans roamed brutally hostile landscapes. The world was at the peak of an ice age. There were no supermarkets, no doctors, no concrete walls separating you from the outside world. There was only persistent hunger, biting cold, saber-toothed predators, and the terrifying uncertainty of each new dawn. In this life-or-death scenario, a hungry wolf approaches the edges of a human camp. It doesn't come to attack, it comes to sniff out food scraps. The humans, wary, watch with their hands on their weapons. But something different happens. This wolf doesn't growl. It doesn't bare its teeth. Instead, it lies down, lowers its head, makes a soft sound. Instead of killing it, the humans let it stay nearby. Without knowing it, they were writing one of the most transformative stories in human evolution. What began as mutual tolerance turned into a billion-dollar evolutionary accident. The less aggressive wolves gained access to a stable food source, the leftovers from human camps. And the humans who tolerated these wolves gained something invaluable, a multisensory biological surveillance system that worked 24 hours a day. The wolves heard frequencies no human ear could detect, smelled threats from miles away. A growl in the right direction, and the entire camp went on alert. Generation after generation, this partnership was sculpted by natural selection. The friendliest wolves survived longer and reproduced more. The humans who kept those wolves nearby also survived longer. Millennia passed, and that wolf was no longer a wolf, it was a dog. The skull shrank, the temperament changed, but the core of the brain still carried the ancestral protection toolkit. This detail changed the destiny of our species. Genetics and archaeology studies suggest that wolf domestication began over 30,000 years ago, long before agriculture. Dogs were not a product of civilization, they were one of the tools that helped build it. In 2024, a team of scientists in Siberia found something extraordinary preserved in the permafrost, the bones of an 18,000-year-old canid, carefully placed alongside stone tools and fire pit marks. When they analyzed the DNA, they discovered that animal was no longer genetically a pure wolf, but not exactly a modern dog either. It was the missing link of domestication. And the fact that it was intentionally buried alongside humans proves that the partnership was already considered spiritual, even when the northern hemisphere was still covered by miles of ice. But the most surprising part is not the physical guard duty, it's the psychological one. The modern dog's brain evolved an extraordinary ability to trust and read human beings. In 2023, researchers at Yavuz Lorand University in Budapest conducted a revealing experiment. They placed dogs and human-raised wolves in a room with a locked food box. The wolves tried to open the box on their own for hours, using brute force. The dogs tried for a few seconds, then stopped, turned their heads, and looked into the human's eyes, asking for help. The wolves never did this. Millennia of partnership taught dogs something their ancestors never learned: social referencing. They learned that we are the solution to their problems. This connection is chemical. Neuroimaging studies show that the canine brain responds to the owner's scent the same way the human brain responds to a photo of their own child. They identify emotions through tone of voice and follow our gaze to find objects, something even chimpanzees don't do with such precision. In 2019, scientists identified that dogs developed an exclusive facial muscle, absent in wolves, the levator anguli oculi medialis, which raises the inner eyebrow, creating the sad puppy dog eyes expression. Wolves cannot do this. Basically, your dog evolved a specific muscle to emotionally manipulate you. And it worked. Because you just gave him a treat, didn't you? What today looks like just a dog barking at the mailman may have been, for thousands of years, the front line between life and death. In the past, that bark warned of a bear approaching in the darkness. Today, that instinct appears displaced: your dog barks at a closed door or a sound you barely notice. His hardware is still that of a Pleistocene sentinel living in 21st century apartment software. But this story also has a side effect of love. Domestication created an intense emotional dependence. Studies show that a dog's stress levels can mirror their owners. If you're anxious, they absorb that anxiety. The good news is that the same studies show that dogs with attentive, present caregivers live longer, are healthier, and happier. Our relationship with them, when done with care, benefits both sides. The fundamental truth is that the relationship between humans and dogs is a story of coevolution. Two completely different species shaped each other over 40,000 years. We gave them food, shelter, and a place by the fire. They gave us their keen senses, their loyalty, and an emotional connection that few species can replicate. Your dog's brain is a living archive of this shared history. The next time your dog lifts his head out of nowhere and stares fixedly at a dark corner of the room, don't ignore it. Pay attention. Because in that gaze, in that tense silence, there is an invisible thread connecting you to a past where not having that warning could cost everything. Your dog doesn't just live with you, he still protects you as if the world outside were a dangerous forest. And deep down, in the oldest part of his brain, the world still is exactly that.